If you've got an A-level computer science exam coming up, let's have a look at how trace it, describe it and code it can get us an extra 10 marks in just 4 minutes. Trace means to follow the algorithm like a computer would. In this case, we're going to try and find Mo using a binary search. The first mark is going to be list has to be ordered. The second mark is all to do with the midpoint. So what we do is we do the lowest position plus the highest position, div it with 2, which gives us an integer. Later on, when we're actually doing the coding, you'll see that the lowest point and the highest point are constantly changing, which that allows the midpoint to change. But we'll look at that later. We compare the values and see that Mo is not Lara. We then see that Mo is greater than Lara, so change the lowest value to Lara plus 1, because we don't want to include Lara in the list anymore, so that would be 5 plus 1, which equals 6. You could, after this point, just say repeat the process until found, but I'm just going to go through the rest of the points because I want you to see how it works with the highest part. So what happens now is we see that Pam is not Mo, and then what we do is we see that Mo is less than Pam, so we recalculate the highest position by doing Pam's position minus 1, because we don't want to include Pam, we want to include Ollie, so that gives us 7. We then recalculate the midpoint the final time by doing the lowest, 6, plus the highest, which is 7. This gives us 13. We div it with 2, and this gives us 6. Remember, this returns the integer. It completely forgets about the decimal part. It does not round up. That's what I see a lot of people do. Position 6 is Mo, so this is the correct answer. Trace is now complete. We're now going to try and describe the steps of a binary search in a generic problem, as opposed to applying it like we just did before. Mark 1, a search that has to be performed on a sorted list. Mark number 2 is we are going to calculate the midpoint by doing the highest position by the lowest position, div 2. Notice that we don't have to give any examples, but we're just talking about this generically. Step 3 compares the search value with the midpoint value. If they match, it stops the search. This is different from the previous one because we have to talk about both situations about where it could find it and where it doesn't find it. If not, it increases the lowest position to midpoint plus 1 if the search item is greater than the midpoint. If not, it increases the highest position to midpoint minus 1 if the search item is less than the midpoint, because we have to think about both situations. Finally, this process is repeated until it either finds the item or outputs not in list. Okay, describe and trace done, now for the coding. Let's initialize the list. We've got 9 items in there, so the lowest position is 0. The highest is going to be len minus 1, which is actually going to be 8, but remember there's 9 items within this. Create the search value variable, which is the value we're looking for, and also make a found variable and set it to false. Create our conditional statement, which is going to keep us in a loop, which is lowest is less than or equal to highest. As soon as they cross over and lowest becomes higher, we know that the item is not in the list. Calculate our midpoint by doing highest plus lowest and then divvy it with 2. Setting the condition that if our search value matches the midpoint, we're going to say item is found at midpoint. We're then going to set found to true and break out of the while loop. We then do the condition for where the search value is less than the midpoint, and this is where we adjust the highest value to mid minus 1. You then do the other condition, which is where the search value is greater than the midpoint. So then you adjust the lowest equals mid plus 1. And then finally, just put the condition that if found is still equal to false, we're going to print item not in list. This is not going to stay in your head though. So I'm going to give you a strategy which I think is really good for learning how to code. Open up 2 compilers and copy and paste the code so it's exactly the same on both compilers. You can then start deleting pieces of code, for example like the first part, and then try and write it in again. And if you get stuck, you can then click the other tab to check how to do it correctly. Now we've finished code, describe and trace, and you have to make sure that you know those for every single search and sort algorithm. These are the ones that you're going to be doing for OCR, and these are the ones for AQA. But at least it gives you a strategy which you can use to learn each of the different ones in there. Now, let me know, did you enjoy this kind of video, or would you just prefer me to make more walkthroughs of past papers? Please let me know in the comments. Thank you.